Welcome to Be Hero Fights. I'm Tom.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dani.
And we are here to discuss
Or fuss.
over two hotly debated, highly related topics.
Last week, we had a great bout between which is more metal of a band, the greatest metal band, if you would, between Slayer versus Metallica. We had a great guest on from
Militant Me.
Thank you.
Chandler from Militant Me. It's a solo project of his, but he is a very, very talented metal musician. He and I go way back, but he's actually gone really far with it. He does a lot of collaborations, and just most recently, he's releasing very shortly a new single that he did with the lead singer of Crystal Lake.
Yeah. It's awesome. He was a great guest. Tom's not totally jealous of him having all this opportunity and he's being stuck as a podcaster.
Hey now, you're cutting some nerves.
But obviously you guys loved it too. It's one of our best viewed videos we've had on YouTube so far and one of our highest listened to episodes on our podcast everywhere. And you guys also commented the ever-living stuff out of it, which we love.
Yeah. So going into some of your guys' comments here, Wallace says, Metallica, we got liftoff to rock and roll paradise. Hands down, Metallica. You're not wrong. I am a huge Metallica fan. I like Slayer. I'm definitely not upset about the results. I think I was definitely better at arguing, but Brian just has it out for me. You guys know.
Yeah, that's true. But going against Wallace and Tom, Slayer, or Steve says Slayer, hands down. And, everyone's allowed to have their opinion, even if it's wrong.
I don't know if it should be hands down or fists up, really.
Right, you got to go horns up, bro.
Horns, either way, Throw your hands in the air.
That's right. So let's get a couple more.
Nathan says, I'm a huge Metallica fan. Have all their albums, seen them twice in concert, so they're obviously my pick.
Yeah, Metallica is a hard one to fight against, honestly.
I'm mostly just jealous that you've seen them in concert. I would love to see Metallica.
Go to Antarctica. They're the only band to ever play in Antarctica.
That's true.
So, and again, following on the Metallica train, Metallica, they have a different sound. Slayer stuck with one.
Yep. And then Don, Slayer, 100%. Like, we had a lot of feedback on this episode. So many people were just Slayer, and I agree. There was a lot of that. And it was really awesome, you guys showing your love for these two very awesome, iconic metal bands.
Very true. And guys, keep commenting on this and on all of our videos, and we will try to get you guys on here. We're saving a few of the ones from the Metallica one for some of our future episodes because there were so many. We could literally have this whole episode as nothing but comments from this last episode.
For sure.
So, but thanks guys for all that love. And please, as always, reach out to us on our social medias, two ladies comments, or drop a comment right here on YouTube.
That's right. So hit us up, facebook.com/BeHeroMedia, instagram.com/BeHeroMedia.
On Twitter at BeHeroFights, and you can find everything that there is Be Hero at BeHeroMedia.com, which has all of our stuff with Be Hero Media, including all of our new blogs and everything else, including our WandaVision review. And that ties in perfectly to what we're doing today.
That's right. Today we have a very exciting episode. Today we are diving into the world of Disney Plus.
That's right. Now, most everybody has Disney Plus and should have Disney Plus. You guys can't see it, but I'm looking at one of the
We're
other
looking
guys
at the
here.
peanut gallery. And
he has refused to get Disney Plus because he doesn't want to spend more than $20 on a streaming platform, and he's already got Netflix.
Yeah, so he's capped out. His budget is maxed.
But most everybody has Disney Plus. It is one of the quickest building, greatest platforms out there right now with so much great content.
Family platforms, anyway.
It's true. Well, yeah. I want to be able to check that this is for kids, so I'm not going to go farther into that. Okay? But with that being said, Disney Plus has got so much great content, but there are two great shows right now on Disney Plus that are just blowing up over everything else. And those two shows are
The Mandalorian versus
WandaVision.
Now, let's be honest. When Disney Plus first came out, a lot of us were kind of like, meh, no one really took it seriously until The Mandalorian. And now with WandaVision, I think it's the most viewed show.
It is the most viewed show on any platform, streaming, TV, otherwise.
So we want to take these two shows and we want to talk about them, and we want to find out which one is the best Disney Plus production.
That's right. But these two are so big. They are so important as it comes to streaming and what the future of streaming is going to be that we can't do this on our own.
That's right. We have to bring in some very special friends. Please welcome the Scene Snobs.
That's right. Welcome, guys.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for having us.
All right. So let's go ahead and introduce you guys. First, we've got the Scene Snob, Mick, of course. And then we have the Madman himself. So, guys, tell us a little bit about the Scene Snobs and what you guys do.
Well, we are the hosts of the Scene Snobs Podcast every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. We touch down on a lot of things, mostly entertainment industry, geek related, but a lot of the absurd is definitely what we're all about. We're very based on comedy and having fun and interacting with people. So we can, we're always chiming in about movies. You got anything to add, Case?
For the most part, we pretty much covered, like you said, anything geek related. We touch comic books, we touch TV, we touch movies, we touch it all. We're a fan of touching.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
Just each other, though.
I tend to get handsy myself. Come here.
Oh, awkward.
You can find us on the Scene Snobs Network. So, thescenesnobs.com. We're one of many shows.
That's right. And it's a great listen to. I actually just recently listened to your guys' episode, which was originally entitled Mortal Kombat. I think you guys did about 3 minutes of that. But but it
you
was
guys
a
are
great
good
episode.
at kind of bouncing off each other and just kind of letting the conversation go. So it's definitely a great listen.
Yeah, it was a great one. It kept me intrigued for the whole time I was there listening to it. So, thank you guys for entertaining me for the hour or so I was listening to you guys.
Appreciate that. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I did have the privilege of listening to your show and just screaming Anthrax the entire time.
I'm with you on that. That was not part of our choices, but I would have been all about Anthrax. In my younger life, I had a full-on Anthrax level beard going on for the goatee level. It was awesome.
The good old Scotty in.
Yep. It's great. Until I, woke up one morning and that thing was trying to kill me up my face, but
it's real.
But guys, we went over before the show started about how we're going to do this, and in that process, you guys also decided, as our guest, which side you wanted to fight on. So between WandaVision and The Mandalorian, who are you fighting for?
WandaVision. Oh yeah.
Good choice.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very good choice. I love the snot of that show.
It's
fantastic.
It's phenomenal, and that is saying something because I struggle to follow most shows.
Yes.
Anything serialized.
Which means I guess we get The Mandalorian, which is also a show I adore. But as everyone knows, I'm a big Star Wars fan and Marvel fan, so these are both right up my alley.
Yeah, and everyone knows I'm a Marvel fan. But I do have actually some wonderful things to say about The Mandalorian, and I think I got some good takedowns for WandaVision, so I'm excited to get into this. So first off, we are going to start with our round one, the opening
salvos, as it would be. And of course, if you guys didn't see Dani here, she's judging for us. She will be impartial because she strongly dislikes us. And so you guys have a great advantage.
And I love The Mandalorian and WandaVision, so yes.
She loves both. So
yes. All right. So as the guests, boys, tell us about WandaVision and why it's so much better.
Round one.
I'll let
Fight.
you take it away, man.
Why, thank you very much, Mick. Appreciate the kindness as always. So, WandaVision. We begin, gentlemen and lady, with one of the greatest shows that has come out in our time. Disney Plus has launched one of the shows that takes something so great, so fantastic, that has really graced us over the last 12 years and plays to our heartstrings and gives us the expounding we were looking for in the relationship of Wanda and Vision. Wanda Maximoff picks up the story with Wanda Maximoff and Vision in a serialized version of themselves in sitcom episodes that range the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and then 90s. Well, maybe not the 50s, maybe more 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It does this in one of the most fantastic ways I've ever seen. It manages to take the best parts of every sitcom that we ever grew up, that tugged on our heartstrings, that entertained us and brought us around the television as a family. And it's able to take every single part of that and bring us back home in a way. It's able to take all of those parts that made our lives so fantastic growing up and so whimsical and just grace us with a little nod to each and every part. Along with that, it also has tied in many of the MCU stories with several characters, all side characters, maybe even tertiary characters, such as Kat Dennings, such as Jimmy,
Agent Jimmy
terrible.
Woo.
Jimmy Woo.
Yeah,
Agent
Jimmy Woo.
Woo.
Thank you. Agent Jimmy Woo. Yeah, I randomly put Randall Park together and I was going to mishmash that and ruin his name. So what it's done is taken all of those parts, even Maria Rambeau, someone as random from the Captain Marvel, and actually give a little nod to every single one of those movies, tie them all in together, and bless us with seeing Vision post-death. Because that was a pretty hard death for me. I don't know about y'all, but after the snap, before the snap, he's dead.
Yep.
So we got Vision back as well. Now we've reached a point where I don't know how spoilery we want to get on this show, so I don't want to give away too much. But I would like to say they brought in a villain that I have not even conceived of since reading a random comic book in like '89. One of my first ones. And this character is so absurd and outrageous. And having visited Salem before, it was really cool to actually see her in play.
Right.
So
before
it's
you go
very
on,
seldom
Casey,
that it shows.
real quick, I forgot to put it out there. This is going to be spoilered because we really kind of need to spoiler these. Now, this episode will be airing just before the season finale of WandaVision.
Okay.
Yeah.
So feel free to spoil it as you need to. So warning, spoilers.
Yes.
Alert.
Continue, Casey.
Fantastic. Appreciate that, sir. So what we get from Agatha Harkness, who's so awesome, so brilliant, that Catherine Hahn playing this, first of all, Catherine Hahn is a treasure. She's a true joy in her ability, capability, and functionality as an actress. Her comedic timing is brilliant. And the fact that every time she's in, before she is revealed, the way they show her as being the off character. Going back and rewatching, she is the one who's dropping all those little tidbits. She's the one who's making things awkward and making it uncomfortable for you without you even knowing. One of the most brilliant things I've seen on television in a very long time. It's the only reason this show has kept me as locked in, serialized, though it may be, for as long as it has. And I am very excited to see what the future holds. Mick, what you got?
Well, I just want to add to this because that was just fantastic. That was fantastic. We've won already. It's okay.
We'll be here all night.
Thank you.
I make that call, man.
Yeah.
Don't step on toes, bro.
I do want to add that, yes, Catherine Hahn is amazing. And not only in a show where we got, the Scarlet Witch got multiple, our opening credits, and got an opening credit songs for each one. Catherine Hahn killed it and got an even better one than all of those. With the it's Agatha theme song.
Agatha all along.
It's still stuck in my head.
It won't go
Out of my
away.
head.
It's so good, and she killed what's his name, Scruffy too. I will say this: one thing that really meant a lot to me about this show is one thing that means a lot to me about MCU is how they deal with mental health, and how important it is. And like from Tony Stark, seeing him through his trilogy, and how it continued all the way through all the movies. Thor had one of the best story arcs due to his mental health and everything that he went through. And in this show, they hit the nail on the head. When we're all sitting there arguing about whether it's Mephisto, who does the X-Men are going to show up, it's Agatha, it's this, that, and the other thing. At the heart and core of it, it turned into a story about grief. and this was truly been a beautiful ride. I'm absolutely in love with this show. Everybody on there is killing it. Paul Bettany, I don't know how that guy showed up and looks even better as an actor.
I mean, he looks Studley in Wimbledon. I mean, pretty much that leap.
But he's knocking it out of the park, and he's given a masterclass in acting while wearing a yellow cape and a red face, and it's just where most people would not agree that that's anything to look at. Not most people, not in today's age, but like our older generations would say that's silly. He's just showing you what he can do, and it's just a fantastic show.
Oh yeah,
probably the best show we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt, it's the best show we're going to talk about. If I could just throw one more little tidbit in there, there is nothing better than them actually dealing with Wanda Maximoff's ever-changing the way she speaks.
Oh yeah.
The fact that she loses and then regains her Sokovian accent as much as Kevin Costner in Robin Hood with his attempt at an English accent. So that's just a glorious little thing.
Don't compare those two.
It's a fantastic movie. What are you talking about? Prince of Thieves is great.
Now I just want to see a WandaVision version done by Mel Brooks doing Men in Tights.
Yes.
First of all, you guys, it's going to be a hard fight because those are some strong points to start off with. And WandaVision is fantastic. In fact, I'll be surprised if it doesn't win all of the awards this year.
Yeah.
It is that good. And if you guys haven't watched it, one, I apologize for the spoilers. Get on it. Pause this. Go there. Come back.
Yeah.
No, you stay. But yeah, it's so good with everything that they were able to do with it. But there's more to do with The Mandalorian as not just the show, but what the show has brought to the world, and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
Start off with what The Mandalorian is. The Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so after the second Death Stars exploded and everything else like that. And if you're not a Star Wars fan,
leave the room.
Exactly. No.
I can justify my actions in a moment. We will save that. I'm trying to help you.
We'll see.
If you're not a Star Wars fan, this could probably be the thing to bring you around because the storytelling is done so well, and this is such the core to what Star Wars is, where it's a samurai western in space, and that's what The Mandalorian is. Yeah. She started off with a person known simply as the Mandalorian, part of a group of Mandalorians who are left. You find out later his name is Din Djarin. And he, the boy, Boba Fett is a bounty hunter.
That was minus 10 points.
Oh.
You guys are doing so good over there.
I know. But Boba Fett, he's a bounty hunter that's part of a bounty hunter group, I guess, that goes out and does things. And you start off with seeing him find a bounty, and then he finds the bounty. Like he goes after a specific one, which is little baby Yoda Grogu, and turns in the bounty, does his job, but then feels bad about it and decides to take in the child, and eventually has to do a whole search in trying to find a home for this child with his people, the Jedi, and such like that. And you go through this great arc through the first season of Din Djarin kind of going against what he would normally do as a loner and stuff like that, and becoming probably the best father on TV.
Yeah.
To the second season of the show being even more of that, and finding things and going step by step, like a straight up tabletop RPG. Goes to a place, does a thing, moves to the next place, does a thing. It's kind of very familiar of the old Kung Fu series with David Carradine in that aspect.
When he completes a quest, he gets a new piece of gear.
Yes. When he completes a quest, he does get a new piece of gear.
It's a loot and shoot.
But as he moves on and everything else, you have all these great callbacks to Star Wars things, and it's through all of the canon of Star Wars. It expands the canon of Star Wars and everything else.
Yeah.
But as great as a show that is, I might actually have to say the story of WandaVision is better. Like, I'll give you guys 100% the benefit of the doubt. And,
What are you doing here, man?
WandaVision is the straight up better story.
We'll come back to that. So the Mandalorian has done some wonderful things that no other Star Wars property has. Well, we haven't had a unifying Star Wars property in a very, very long time. Save the Mandalorian. The Mandalorian really is saving the most iconic, most influential sci-fi franchise the world over, and it's making a comeback in the best way possible because of the Mandalorian. Its strong characters and storytelling. They're not. They do have nods to to the other movies, and they bring in characters, but they're also not doing that in a pandering way. They're also creating new characters and new compelling stories with that. So,
Yes.
Brian and I have talked about this many times. I didn't care much for season 1. I just finished season 2. I watched the whole thing this week. It's fantastic. In fact, Bill Burr's character.
Oh yeah, he's so good. That little story with him in it, just a little bit,
was
so
just
good.
perfect. Yeah, and it's subtle things like that really take it a long way. So, I wouldn't say that WandaVision's story is better. I would say it's different. It's a different story they're trying to tell. I think we've gotten a wonderful arc for Mando in these first 2 seasons for him. Going from an orphaned loner to learning that there's more to even just being a Mandalorian than this very strict order that he's been following, and he comes to accept being a father and opening up to friends, and like that is a very powerful and a very important story.
Yes, and what I was going to say before you cut me off is WandaVision, I think, is the better story, but because it's a limited series, because it's not continuing after this, as far as everyone knows, we're having such a great expansion of what we're doing over 2, 3, 5 seasons and spin-offs and everything else with Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. But before we go on, because that's just the opening bit, let's go ahead and have the round 2 portion of this, and you guys rebut. Tell us what we are not saying right. What's the best thing against what we're saying?
Round 2.
Take us down, I dare.
1.
Fight.
How dare you? How dare you say the best father on TV with a straight face and not think about Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince?
I was thinking Al Bundy.
Wow.
I did say right now.
Kidding.
I did say right now.
I will say this. You said the best father on TV. And yes, you tried to sneak in the right now.
Yeah.
But never. Always Uncle Phil.
Forever Uncle Phil.
Used to be Cliff Huxtable, but we're not going to get into that.
Yes.
It's a different story.
We get into controversies on our show. But we will say this. Everything you said is correct. Listen, The Mandalorian is a great show. They've brought us so many amazing characters in live action, from, Tano to, we got Baby Yoda out of this. This is an icon. This is an icon there.
You guys can't see my purse, but it's Baby Yoda.
But here's the problem. It's not WandaVision. It's cute. It's a cute, 2-season show. They'll come out the 3rd season. It's a Western. It's nice. It's fun. You got Din, who just cries all the time whenever he takes off his helmet. It's just full of tears.
Yep.
And I'm okay with him crying. There's nothing wrong with that. But it always seems like it's at the wrong time. Keep your helmet on, dude. Keep your helmet on.
Well, it's all that rush of the dust and everything comes up in his eyes when he takes the helmet off. It's kind of him crying.
It's the allergies, man. Didn't take my Zyrtec this morning. Now, here's the thing. WandaVision is a wonderful show, but it is riding on the coattails of an already incredibly built franchise.
And Mandalorian is not? I don't know.
No, Mandalorian is
about
absolutely
that
not.
point. We're
Mandalorian
talking about
is riding
something
on the
from
coattails.
1977.
Well,
It's riding on the coattails of the most controversial, divisive sci-fi franchise of all time. There has been no unifying Star Wars property since Return of the Jedi.
Well,
Everything has divided the fans and all of geekdom, nobody agrees if anything is right or not. They can't get anything to stick until Jon Favreau, the founder of Marvel, the godfather of Marvel, has to come and save Star Wars. And The Mandalorian is picking up pieces because everyone loves Star Wars. Everyone loves it for its aesthetics, for the universe building, just the incredible diversity that they have in across all properties. But they haven't been able to tell a good story until The Mandalorian.
He's not a big fan of Star Wars, if you can't tell.
Rogue One.
Which is a fantastic story.
Rogue One was fine, but it was not a well-written, it's fine, but I can pick that apart.
This
We're
is
not
what I
going
have to deal with all the time. I'm sorry.
That's not the fight. I'm not going to go through and pick apart everything bad about the Star Wars universe, but what I am going to say is it's been done. It's being done constantly, but nobody's picking apart The Mandalorian.
Well, the tie on to that.
My hat's off to you, sir. Literally, my hat's off to you with the straight face saying that.
Oh, he's not a fan of Star Wars whatsoever. The tying into that, if you look at this way, you've got, in a sense, a TV version showrunner of Kevin Feige, who runs all of Marvel from practically day one, doing all of the things and keeping things in line. You had the first 3 movies done for 4, 5, and 6, where they weren't even sure after the original movie whether there was going to be more, right? There was plans in effect on Marvel to have plans and to tie everything in as they were going along. There was always kind of plans for that. There wasn't. George was like, oh, you want to give me more money? Yeah, I got an idea. Let's do this. I kept going. And then it's like, oh, it's been 20 years. Let's make another one in the 90s, and let's do the prequels. And then, later on, it's like, Disney bought us, and, oh, we can make money off of this. Let's make some What Happens Next and stuff like that. There's no tying bit. There is no nexus, WandaVision pun intended, of this tying in that you get with Star Wars. So you having a show like Mandalorian become that after the fact and trying to bring all of those pieces in and bring a unification of what was so separated across all of the galaxy, including the Outer Rim of Star Wars, into one. And even calling back on the stuff dealing with the expanded universe stuff that's not canon anymore, with Admiral. My brain just turned off. Blue guy. Thawne.
Grand Moff Tarkin?
Thawne.
Yeah.
Thawne. Yeah. Grand Admiral Thawne, having him involved in it, and supposedly going to be either in the next season or in the Ahsoka spinoff. All of that is because of this. Right?
Yeah.
That's how amazing this show is. And WandaVision, as great as it is, it's just another great thing that Marvel's done as part of its tie-in.
Mm-hmm.
That's very fair, but kind of incorrect in a lot of ways, because we have been shut down for a year. We lost Black Widow. We have ended the last phases. That the story, that great epic story that Marvel was telling, is ended. And then we got Spider-Man to kind of start the next phase with all new people. And we've had nothing since. And now, yes, I would say anticipation, but let's be real, as fans, WandaVision was not what everybody was anticipating.
Not at all.
To come out first.
Yeah.
And, not because they're saying anything wrong with the characters, but because they were treated like secondary characters. As much as we like them all as fans, but this is a TV show. It's more than just for the fans. And to come out of the gate and people who never even heard of these characters before to love them as much as they are. And now we are heavily anticipating what's coming next because of what they've done on this show. That speaks volumes. Mandalorian, whether you're a Star Wars fan or not, and it is a fantastic show, was always going to have its base, was always going to go on. And yes, it was by word of mouth of how awesome it was going to bring people in. WandaVision, their word of mouth is even better. They've made a show that just hits on many, many levels for many, many people. You can turn on The Mandalorian and say, it's just not for me. WandaVision, it's kind of tough to do. There's people who never, like I said, never heard of these characters before, don't read comic books, don't watch the Marvel movies, who turned this on and said, this is pretty amazing. I don't need another rest.
Yeah, Mandalorian was able to take the pieces that were a broken trilogy, broken systems, broken parts, and actually connect them all. So it did that very well, and I absolutely take nothing away from that. What WandaVision has been able to do is take parts that exist in completely, like Agatha Harkness, getting S.W.O.R.D. involved, of all things. S.W.O.R.D., an offshoot of S.H.I.E.L.D. that people have no idea about unless you've read the comics, and it's made it a forefront. It's made it an important piece. So WandaVision has taken things that are completely obscure and brought them to the forefront, whereas Mandalorian has had the responsibility, really, and has taken that, of piecing things back together, a broken story, and kind of rebuilding the hype and rebuilding Star Wars. It's a much longer process, so of course it's going to take a longer time, probably 3 to 4 seasons. Whereas WandaVision, what they've successfully done in one season is give you heart, give you story, make you care about these characters, and introduce the next round for an entire new phase of movies that just completed, as Mick said, phase 4. So we've had years of this phase that now this is your restart. This is starting anew, and it's doing a far better job than Mandalorian.
I beg to differ just a little. So I do want to shift gears just a little bit. So, you know, one of the things that this most recent episode of WandaVision that very much is an episode of grief. And it is a very powerful episode. But they are throwing this together a little too late. Like, that arc of grief should have had more presence throughout the other episodes. We shouldn't be blindsided by this right now. Like, ooh, surprise, she's in grief. Yeah, we know. Like, we haven't actually been able to see the trauma and see her dealing with that. I knew from the beginning of the show that we were going to be dealing with that. Like, that's, but for, I don't know, maybe I was the only one that saw that coming.
But don't you think
like,
that was
why are they waiting so long? Like, that's not good writing, actually. That is not good storytelling to hold, like, very deep personal character development till the very end. Like, this should have been something, like, this episode would have been 10 times more powerful if we'd have gotten maybe a dream sequence, a flashback, if we would have been reminded of some of these traumatic experiences in subtle ways. It didn't, like, shouldn't have been episode changing ways, but there should have been nods to this mental breakdown that was inevitable to come. So I think that's poor writing. Yes, I'm going to be very nitpicky on a couple things right now. I'm aware that I'm being nitpicky because I do love this show, but I think that they missed the mark there. Whereas with The Mandalorian, it's been very clear and very upfront the entire time that this is a broken individual that saw his family killed and was adopted as a foster child. If you know anyone that's been through the foster system, they have baggage. They have demons. And you get to see this guy fighting those demons and finding new purpose every single episode. That is a beautiful story arc that they spent 2 seasons telling. Not one episode.
I gotta kind of argue against that. I would say in 2 seasons, as that's a beautifully well put and everything you just said. But I would say that there was more evidence within WandaVision of her mental breakdown, of her grief, and everything else that hints that went along. How much power she had to be putting out to hide it, versus with. When it came to in The Mandalorian, when it came to Din, you've gotten that a little too late, in my opinion.
No, we've gotten a lot of those callbacks from the Din story throughout its own story. We haven't had a whole lot of tie-in outside of, we don't know much more of the Mandalorians. Whereas when we look into WandaVision, the things that Wanda has actually shown us now were things she discussed. Things that she spoke about in the Avengers Age of Ultron, things she spoke about in Endgame, things she spoke about in Infinity War. So all we're doing now is seeing what she's already spoken about. So I have to disagree that it's poor writing when they're just tying everything in from the universe that she discussed, like the bomb was saying Stark Industries, where she and her brother Pietro waited for 2 days to be killed by Tony Stark. I mean, that's there.
Yep.
We see
Yeah,
that, and now we experience that. And with the sitcoms being the finding out that the sitcoms are the tie-in to the only joy and good thing she had in her life, the only positive memory she has as a child is those movies. I think it's fantastically done, and we get to see what Strucker actually did to her when she was being experimented on by the Mind Stone. So I think it's done a better job of tying those in than what we've seen with The Mandalorian over 2 seasons.
Well, but it's also been changing things from Age of Ultron, and I think like it's easy to say that because all of us, I'm pretty sure, have seen everything in the MCU.
Yeah.
Whereas like unless you've seen everything, if you are just a newcomer starting with WandaVision, you don't know everything that you just said. Like you would have to go back and watch starting from Age of Ultron, and like you're missing out on things that are not articulated because of the storytelling of this show. And when you are a writer, when you are writing a movie, when you are writing a show, you have to make sure that it works as a standalone piece.
Can I chime in here real quick? So I hadn't seen Age of Ultron and I hadn't seen the couple others, but I just have to say I do disagree because she did have slight other.
Damn it.
She had slight meltdowns with when her brother came and when there were some other things that you can see that she's trying to live this perfect life, but it's not.
Every
to the extreme that something happens, the Agatha character comes in and the Easter eggs of like something happens and you can see there's those things though, and
they're off.
And I know
everything's
a
off.
lot of Marvel,
Yeah.
but I didn't know all of this coming into Wanda, so I could see it coming.
Going with this,
I guess.
I don't agree with what Sham's saying on the parts that I think the story isn't as good. I think the way that they did WandaVision's story and making it where you kind of have to follow each episode to understand the pieces of the next part was great. But they're apples to oranges in the storytelling aspect. Mm-hmm. You're kind of doing a murder mystery almost in WandaVision to find out who done it. Right, where you're not really getting that. You're getting a episodic kung fu like story with the Mandalorian. Now, what I would say that the Mandalorian does better than any show, period, is the truly movie quality that you get which we get. Now, WandaVision does great in its effects and everything else, but it doesn't exactly feel like you're watching a movie. It feels like you're watching a fantastic TV show. Where Mandalorian, when you're watching that in the cinematic, especially if you have a great 4K TV like I do, it makes the quality of it that much better. And that's due to a creation created by Jon Favreau for The Mandalorian known as The Volume, which now has multiple ones being created, where you have both a practical and VFX stuff being created all at one time. So you have these massive LED TVs inside of a giant VR room in a sense. It's almost like old school Star Trek holodeck, where you have all these practical effects where the actors and everything can interact with each other and interact with props nearby them, like getting out of the ship or walking around, whatever. But you also have the ability of having all these great cinematic views that have already been filmed on B-roll that works perfect. You have great lighting because of that. All of that was created because of what they've done with The Mandalorian and why The Mandalorian is the overarching better show, because it is, in a sense, it's a free movie that you get to have, 26 episodes? I think it's 13 episodes a season. 26 episodes of, where you have a great storied TV show in 9 episodes of The Mandalorian, or excuse me, of WandaVision.
I think it's.
If I could argue just a few points on that. One, yes, it is more cinematic, 100%. When it comes to Mandalorian, the look is astonishing every episode. My only argument there is I'm not going to compare a TV show to TV shows, one because one looks more cinematic in a movie. Like, I'm not going to see a movie. I'm going to watch these TV shows, and their stories are the more important, in my opinion. And the way just how the tale is told, and if it's something new or something refreshing. Like, Yeah, I mean, I'll watch a David Lean movie any day of the week because of the sweeping scale. But Breaking Bad, I'll probably watch more, because of that show aspect of what we're getting from it. And I don't feel that type of feeling from The Mandalorian. What I feel from The Mandalorian is you're going to get a cool tale. It's going to be like an old Western from the 50s, just much more beautiful. But to also speak to your point, this is where the snob portion of the Scene Snob comes out. John Ford was known as the best director of all time. And he was known for his beautiful, epic, Western scale, picturesque movies. And everybody said, that's what he's known for. That's what he's known for. And that was great. And then he turned around and he made a movie called The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which, if nobody's seen it, everybody should see it. And it was a challenge to him because they said that he's only famous for his picturesque Western, look. He only made it where it was indoors. He made an entire Western where there are no landscapes. So that way he could show, I can make a movie that's just as interesting as anything else and not show what they're saying I'm famous for. WandaVision, in my opinion, does that. It takes these TV shows that were famous throughout time that we can all connect with, we all know, also adds a lot of drama, a lot of thought to them. It's a fantastic sweeping story across 9 episodes, which I'm sure we're going to get in the last episode. We haven't seen it yet, but we're getting there. But in these 8 episodes we did see, have told a tale that they didn't need all of the pomp and circumstance of the cinematic look. They just needed these 2 characters at its core who love each other and the one that is grief-stricken.
Yeah.
All right, can we move into final thoughts?
Yep.
Or something else? Real quick?
Final round.
Yeah. Before we go into the final round, once again, this episode is actually brought to you by the Scene Snobs. Tell us about your show again, and we are going to play a little trailer, but tell us about the show first.
So the Scene Snobs, like we said, the Scene Snobs Podcast, that's what Casey and I host. Well, we host a lot of stuff. But
sometimes well.
Sometimes well, sometimes not so well. But we do well. We do well together, I'll tell you that. I had created the scenesnobs.com a little over 2 years ago, and we launched in October of 2019. It is a network of live and pre-recorded shows that air nightly each week. Brand new. You can find shows that cover everything, and that's not an exaggeration. They really do cover
big screen, small screen, sports, interviews, you name it, he's got it.
Yeah. But have you done shows about whiskey? Just kidding.
We actually have some stuff coming up. We do have a mixed drink show.
Nice.
That maybe.
Excellent.
So it's just been a wild ride. We're at 20 shows right now with 6 more joining in March. And we're going to just keep growing. We're going to keep going from there.
Right on.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and play that trailer real quick.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan, and I'm here to tell you guys about the scenesnobs.com. We're a channel of variety, comedy, entertainment, geek-related, sports, the whole 9 yards. We cover almost every genre. And we have so many great shows to choose from. We have shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast, BTB Podcast, The Guapo Show, The Sports Snobs Podcast, The PVD Cast, Jeff Dwoskin presents Crossing the Streams, The 3 Geeks Podcast, The Fandom Effect. We probably have the only Matlock-based podcast called Matt Talk, and we're introducing new shows all the time. We have new shows coming up like the Ear Hustling Podcast, Carpool Shenanigans, and of course, From Some Nobodies, Twitching Upstream, and Talking Upstream. So come on, check out thescenesnobs.com, enjoy it, and please leave feedback. Like, follow, subscribe us, and just let us know what you think. We love to have all the interaction. So I, again, am the Scene Snob, Mick Manhattan. Check out thescenesnobs.com. You can follow us anywhere on social media at The Scene Snob, and we will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
All right, guys, we're back. as you guys saw that great trailer right there for the Scene Snobs, who we are about to go in the final thoughts with of WandaVision versus The Mandalorian.
Check them out.
That's right. All right, guys. So final thoughts. Hit it at it.
Final round. Fight.
Well, let's see. Final thoughts. Coming down with this piece, it's really simple. When you look at these two side by side, they're fantastic shows. Each one has wonderful quality. They're both shot beautifully. They're done in very different styles. So it is difficult to sit them side by side and say, well, look at the landscape and the production quality versus the value and production quality over here. For me personally, it's what they say with each sitcom, saying that at the end, everything's going to be okay. At the end of every sitcom, everything's going to be fine. Even though it looks like someone should be grievously hurt by Dick Van Dyke having an entire roof fall on him, he's okay. And that, I think, is the heart of what WandaVision is getting across, that everything is not okay, that everything is not sitcom life, that the simple fact is we live in a world with pain, hurt, and we have to move forward with dignity, and how difficult that can be. With dealing with loss, that the Marvel MCU has done in a fantastic way, in a huge way, with the blip, everyone returning from the blip, these types of issues that'll just be forthcoming and wrought through our souls. This story has given us the ability to laugh, to smile, and still be okay to cry through watching someone struggle and deal with this pain. Not to mention, Catherine Hahn is incredible. I can't say enough about her. I'm sorry. She's just phenomenal. Like, I really can't say enough. I mean, yes, Elizabeth Olsen is wonderful. I am a huge Paul Bettany mark. I mean, he's always for that guy. But this show on the whole has taken something, sitcoms, and made it far more impactful than I ever thought anyone could.
I will just add one thing to this. Yes, The Mandalorian has an interesting show. Everybody should watch it. And it has beautiful cinema-esque landscapes in it and just different worlds. But WandaVision made a show just as interesting, if not more, in New Jersey.
Oh, it's in Jersey? Oh, that's right. Westview's in Jersey.
That's right. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's all in all, both these shows are fantastic. Yeah. WandaVision and Mandalorian are two of my favorite shows. It makes me happy that I purchased Disney Plus, not just for my wife and children, but for myself.
Fine.
Disney, I think I just sold you another one, so you can send some money our way.
Little kickback, please.
But with that being said, if you compare these two as best as you can, so you have two top Disney shows with WandaVision and Mandalorian, where the story of WandaVision is probably slightly above that because of the shorter compaction it needs to do, but at that same time, it's got so much to fall back on that story with all of the movies and everything else, the comic books, and all 50 years? Yeah, 50 years that the Vision's been around and Wanda shortly after have been around doing things like that, where you have Din Djarin, which is a brand new character.
Completely original,
trying to then bring up Star Wars and bring it back to what it was once before, where everybody enjoyed it because of what it was, and then continuing to move that up with creating a brand new technology for everyone to use to be able to do things for the future and everything else. The music and everything is so high quality with the Mandalorian that you get just that little bit more. And to give you an example of what I'm talking about, if you guys ever watched a movie or watched a TV show called Mortal Kombat Conquest, way back when, it was like the late 90s, early 2000s, had a great story. It was a story of Mortal Kombat stuff pre the Mortal Kombat games. Fantastic story, garbage everything else, right? Horrible acting, horrible visuals and everything else, but the story was top notch. Does anybody else remember that show?
I do.
No.
I remember it.
I'm not as old as you.
I legitimately watched it.
I did too. But the story was fantastic. And that's what I'm saying. Their qualities are right there next to each other in story, but the extra oomph that you get more with The Mandalorian and the technology created around it, the music that Ludwig, can't remember his name, that created, that make that Mandalorian sound done. It's all fantastic. Now, WandaVision has great music to go with it for every theme that ties into what they're kind of representing with every previous show. But they're the ripoffs. They're not something new. Where you get something brand new, you get the entrance music, wrestling wise, for Din Djarin, right? In that, and that's why I would say that Mandalorian just pushes over WandaVision. As great of a story, and as much as I love that one, it just pushes it over. And Luke Skywalker going ape on a bunch of bots.
That was awesome.
Brilliant.
It's so hard to argue. But the problem with that is I really don't think you can argue that because we haven't seen the end of WandaVision yet.
That's true. So
I do.
The only thing I will say is if WandaVision has points sort of deducted because it has this huge background to play on, then so does The Mandalorian for adding Boba Fett and Luke Skywalker.
Here's kind of my final thoughts on this because I do love both. I love WandaVision, but what I can't deny with The Mandalorian is the cultural relevance that it has brought back. We're talking about the two most influential franchises for pop culture the world over of all time.
Oh yeah, you put Star Trek right up there, and it's like the top 3.
Yeah.
I think these are the top two: the Marvel universe and the Star Wars universe. Nothing against Star Trek, but in my opinion, these are the top two most influential. I think Star Wars has been very divisive for a very long time. I liked Rogue One a lot. That's actually, I think, my favorite of the recent movies that they've made. But it was still a divisive movie. And that's the thing is that people keep running into. Everyone wants to love Star Wars. Everyone loves lightsabers. Everyone loves the technology, the aesthetics, the worlds, the species, everything about it. There's wonderful characters, but there hasn't been a consistent through line of good storytelling that has really brought everyone together like The Mandalorian has done. On top of that, what The Mandalorian has done, which will be used for television shows moving forward, not just for The Mandalorian, they have shaped filmmaking for television for the better. I think it's groundbreaking for that. It's groundbreaking for bringing Star Wars fans back to a place that they feel at home. And finally, it's more pop culturally groundbreaking because Baby Yoda is the best meme that's ever come in the history of memes.
Valid.
So,
all right,
Mic
guys.
dropped.
So with all that, Dani, you got a lot of work on your hands there. So all right.
I sure do. So, you guys talked a lot more about WandaVision than you did about Mandalorian.
I did not.
Okay.
Brian did.
You both were very equal on that. I love both of these, and I kind of hit on WandaVision how I hadn't seen, the previous movies to understand going into WandaVision. I have not seen the last few episodes of season 2 in Mandalorian, so I don't know.
Spoilers.
I know. I got it. But especially growing up in the Star Wars culture and Star Wars being my world, I really love how Tom says that it brought the home back for fans, because it's been all over the place with the movies, and episode 1, 2, and 3, I couldn't even finish 2, and I never watched 3 because
3 was the best of all those.
And I could never watch them because I hated 1 and the half of 2 that I saw. And the newer movies are much better, but you guys hit some really good points on both the cinematic part of where Mandalorian is and how it's filmed, and WandaVision has just been out of the park with everything, and the diversity of how they can just jump from one, the different sitcom vision, how they're doing the different episodes. I think though, and I didn't really think about it this way, with I think how I forget your names.
Casey.
Mick, sorry, how Mick has said the grief and the mental health. I think WandaVision won it there, because that and the one Thor movie, especially right now with COVID and where 2020 and 2021 have been, you know, mental health and grief, and not just specifically like her grief, but I think just overall and where the world is right now. I think that is such a huge one, and for them to hit it and hit it good and all aspects of it, I think that's amazing.
All right. Well, it looks like WandaVision won.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Congratulations, boys.
Hey, rocking the Shield shirt.
I want a rematch.
I will tell you, when you asked, I picked WandaVision because I was like, man, if we lose, like, because on our show, everybody knows, like, we ardently defend Star Wars on everything.
To the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
To the ends of the earth. It was so hard to try to battle against Mandalorian. Are you kidding me?
You guys
Every
did
fiber of my
really,
being
really
was like,
good.
you're all right. You're all right. Every point's right.
Everything
Yeah, I
was
like,
right.
if we lose the Mandalorian, defending the Mandalorian, then we'll lose all credibility in our lives. I mean, I have Star Wars tattooed on my arm. He has Star Wars tattooed on him. Like, we are fans. And the Mandalorian is brilliant, and you guys put up one hell of a fight. I had to My Cousin Vinny this situation.
Oh, gosh.
Listen to you and just be like, what am I going to take from this so that way I can turn it around?
Most of
But
my
you guys, man,
stuff
you
that
guys
I
are-
own too is Baby Yoda, so this was very hard for me.
Well, I'm a huge fan of both shows. Like, I'm a huge comic book nerd, and then I love Star Wars in general. I often fight with Tom about Star Wars because he does not approve of Star Wars.
It's not even that. Like, I want to love Star Wars, and I love everything about Star Wars except the storytelling, character development. And
This is what I have to deal with.
Parts. Yeah.
This is what I have to
But
deal
you
with.
fought a fight, man. For somebody who feels that way, you fought a fight.
Yeah.
But that's the
Yeah.
thing. We've had to learn how to fight against things that we ourselves don't have that opinion about. So,
I was really like grasping at straws with my mental health argument. I wasn't trying to negate that, but I was trying to just say like, hey, they could have done better. I
Well, it's a good
didn't
debate.
articulate that well, but
Not at all.
And I do believe they could have done better, but no, yeah, that episode is quite the tearjerker.
I love the way that they did it because they tie it in a way where it's like bits of it you get like tastes of that stuff, like the commercials and other bits of it you get
Oh, yeah.
tastes.
I
of
loved
it.
how they did
It's
it.
not all about mental health.
Yeah.
Which I think is what's so great about about WandaVision. I will say one thing though, like I watch both of these shows back. Like every time that they come out, I'm there watching. I watch it at work. I'll put it on my laptop. I'll be watching it at work while I'm coding. And
You don't work there anymore.
yeah, but I'll be sitting there just like going crazy watching these shows. But I'll tell you right, I'm excited to watch the next episode for The Mandalorian. I'm like a crack fiend for WandaVision. Like, I want the next episode now.
I started showing my daughter some of these and WandaVision, and she's like, Dad, I need to know what happens right now.
Right?
Right now.
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
my oldest
no, we
loves
need to
it
stop.
too.
Yeah, I will not show my 8-year-old until it's all finished because
Smart.
he will just bug me. So I'm like, no, when it's done, we'll sit and bite it.
I exactly the same way with my 7-year-old. She's watched everything Star Wars, including The Mandalorian. Like, she's a huge Star Wars fan. I'm gonna wait to have her watch watch WandaVision though, because she's a huge comic book fan too. So she's gonna wait to watch that as well.
And I've been watching every episode with my kids, and they're just like, yeah, that was cool. What are we doing now, Dad?
Can I go play Fortnite?
Can I fight robots? Yeah. Can I play Fortnite?
Gosh, I had my daughter watching some of The Mandalorian, and it turned into, can we play Minecraft? I'm like, but Mandalorian.
You're like,
She'll
get out. You
understand.
are not my child.
Right. Oh, my daughter, she loves Ahsoka so much. She wants to be Ahsoka Tano next year for Halloween. So
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing.
we had her for.
I think that was my favorite episode, actually.
The Ahsoka one?
Of
Yeah.
actually both seasons. I don't
With
like
Michael
that show.
Bean, too.
Oh, yeah,
That
Michael Biehn.
standoff. Oh,
You know who Michael Bean
so
is?
great.
No.
Kyle Reese.
Johnny Ringo.
Reese, baby.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. You still have no clue who that is.
Kyle Reese.
Yeah.
From
See,
Terminator.
everybody
Yeah.
knows him as
Yeah.
Kyle Reese.
Terminator-
I call
Terminator
him
1.
Hicks.
Johnny
I guess
Ringo.
he's
I
in-
enjoyed the Johnny Ringo.
Johnny Ringo all day.
No, Hicks, man. That's Hicks from Aliens.
That
Man.
too. Like he was so hot, like in that like span of like the late or the 80s, early 90s for shows, and like he was gone, and And then suddenly he's in The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
That he was
So
awesome. I didn't even realize it was him until they got up close to him. Like when he's standing on the ledge, I'm like, who's that guy?
Yeah, right? Oh, man. But first of all, thank you guys for so much for having this great fight with us. It was a very well heated, very well done fight.
Yeah.
I couldn't say anything better about WandaVision than you guys did. It was so good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys, though.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it so much. Thanks for having us on.
Great time.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you
Good
guys
battle.
go out and find the Screen Snobs. Let's try it again. Scene Snobs. And go listen to their stuff on Spotify. Go find them on YouTube. It's great stuff. You'll find the links below in our comments and everything else. It's great stuff. And they have so much stuff out there. There'll be a snob flavor for you, okay? They have all varieties of things. I was trying to listen to one today, trying to figure out what I was going to listen to. And I came across the regular Scene Snob Live, but I literally found like all kinds of stuff from sports and everything all across the board.
Yeah.
And you guys can too if you go out there.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate this. This is so much fun.
Oh, yeah, dude. It was a great time. And we'd love to have you guys back again. We'll just have to find an episode where we can actually win.
Hey, it would be our pleasure. Anytime we can duke it out. This is great.
You guys got to come visit us on our show too, man. We won't fight with you on there, but you can definitely plug, and we're gonna make you guys fight each other.
That's right. That sounds fun.
That's nothing new.
But before we run off, guys, we have a couple businesses things to do. First, if there is anything that we got right, we got wrong, any comments you want to talk about these guys, about us in general, anything, hit us up on our social medias at
Facebook.com/BeHeroMedia, Instagram.com/BeHeroMedia,
on Twitter at BeHeroFights, and everything that is BeHero at BeHeroMedia.com, including all of our reviews, including the one for WandaVision.
Also, it would go a long way. It would help us out a lot if you guys could go ahead and like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure just share this with your friends. We want to entertain as many people as possible. That goes a really long way for us, and it costs you nothing.
Tom will pay you $20 for everyone that does.
Not
Verbal contract.
not agreed. But we are going to be doing some giveaways shortly.
Yes.
We got some merchandise. Danny's been working really hard on getting our merchandise set up, and it's looking great.
Yes.
So that we're going to be doing a giveaway very shortly.
Yep. So, guys, hit us up in those comments so you guys can be part of that. And Screen Snobs, we end the show the same way.
Scene Snobs.
I don't know why I keep calling them Screen Snobs. I don't know why. My tongue does not want to work today.
I give you
Scene Snobs,
whiskey.
as you guys know, we end this always the same way. So, guys, as always,
Keep fighting.
close enough.
Fight on.
Fight on.
Fight on. That was it. One of us was going to get it.
That's right. See you guys next week.